I feel like I'll always have this family here, from like the kids that I grew up with in Sunday school and godly play through confirmation and the high school youth activities, and also the adults who helped organize all of that, but also even just the people who I don't know all that well, but who have seen me grow up here and who will always be just like these familiar faces and welcome like smiles that I'll always feel comfortable around. And I don't know, I think there's just something special about like every weekend, well, almost every weekend, you know, even sometimes when I didn't want to wake up early when all my other friends were like sleeping in, I think there's something special about coming to the same place every week for what now, like 17 years, I guess, and just like coming together as people to reflect and just be present together in a way that we're not really in our everyday lives. And so I think I'll definitely take all of this family and this kindness and service and everything that I've experienced here with me wherever I go.
It was really great. I mean, the Abiding Love has such a great community that like there's people there that I wouldn't even know, I wouldn't recognize, and they would just give me a hug and they just make me feel so welcome and so safe. So Abiding Love was definitely like a second family that I would just go visit every Sunday. Yeah.
Growing up at Abiding Love was, and this comes to me first, was so very welcoming, because I did not start coming to Abiding Love as like a child where like as a small child. I came to Abiding Love as an older child because my sister attended daycare, and so I thought maybe it'd be a little bit awkward or not, but everyone welcomed me, made me feel at home, and you know, that's why I've stayed.
Well, it was nice to have a strong community to be reinforced with, to just have a network to rely on.
It's been really cool to grow up in one community for my entire life. I've been coming to Abiding Love since I was born, so I've known and seen everybody every Sunday for the past 18 years, and that's just really cool to think about, that I basically have this really large family rather than just people that just go to my church. You know, nobody's just people that go to my church. You know, they're people that I've come to know over the past 18 years, and I think that that's really cool.
It was pretty awesome. I remember that there was a really big sense of community.
Okay, so my first one, which is kind of two, but I'm gonna lump them together, and I think a lot of people are gonna say this, are the El Cenizo trips, because they were just, I mean, it's really hard to explain like all of the experiences that we had in a week and then another week where we were kind of doing things constantly for that whole time. But I think especially the first week, I remember mostly, or the first year, I remember mostly the kids and just those crazy hectic kids and talking to all the people that we met there. And it was just really a cool experience for all of us to go into this different world than, you know, all the things that we were used to in our lives. And then the second year I remember mostly is how we bonded as a youth group, because even though we kind of spent a little less time with the kids because the Vacation Bible School wasn't as big that year, we spent a lot of time doing just physical labor outside and then staying up late playing games together. And it was just a really fun experience to, like, we felt really close together at that time as a youth group, even if we were like yelling at each other. Okay, the next one is the lock-ins, because that's just something I remember that when we would always go together and see the latest Star Wars movie that had come out. And I even remember one time, it was like, we were watching the 3D version and I was so tired, and like, it even wasn't that enjoyable, but like, I will always remember that, and I love those lock-ins, and I don't know, that was really fun. And then another one that I was gonna do, another service one, let's see, which one was it? Yes, the Feed My People. We would go and help volunteer at the breakfast that they served for homeless people. And it was really cool because the first time we went, there were way too many volunteers, so we just got to like sit with the people and talk to them as they were eating, which was really cool, and I think very like a humanizing experience to be able to just interact with these people who we usually think of just, oh, they're homeless people. Anyways, and then also the second time getting to actually serve them and work in the kitchen was really awesome too. So yeah.
Okay, so I have to say El Cenizo. When we took the trip down to El Cenizo near Laredo, that was just like the best experience because, I mean, we got to hang out with all the neighborhood kids and just make them feel, you know, welcome and safe and have fun with them. And we got to, you know, distribute food at the food bank. You know, we helped organize things, and it just was really fulfilling to do that. And plus we got to spend time with like the youth group, like in the house. We were constantly doing things, constantly eating, and that was just a really great bonding experience. And then the second memory I had was definitely going to Houston for the youth gathering. That was really great, and not just because we got to like eat great food all the time, but just because it was really, really cool to see like so many youth gathered in like a single stadium, just like worshiping the same thing, and it made you feel small, but also like a part of something a lot bigger. And then the third thing was probably Six Flags. I have to put that in there just because, I mean, I love Six Flags, and it was fun to go with everyone.
My top 3 favorite youth group moments are, number 1, of course, El Cenizo. Being able to be with the youth group for an entire week, doing incredibly important service, just tops everything else. But number 2 would then be Camp Ebert, continuing with the theme of being with the youth group for a week. And then finally, just setting up around the church, be it for a dinner or for a carnival with the youth group.
The trip to Laredo was probably my favorite trip. The service we did there was really something I'm proud of. I also liked going to Camp Ebert over the summers and the spring break trips to Crystal Beach. Fun.
Okay, my top 3 favorite youth group memories. One of them is the last day that we were in El Cenizo for the first time, whenever the congregation came together and blessed us on our journey and saying goodbye to all of the kids that we had come to know, and it was really emotional and really sad, but one of my very favorite memories. Another one was whenever I was in 8th grade at Ebert. Our camp leader, I remember, pretty much snuck us out of the cabin, and we went and we laid down on the porch and we talked about our dreams and who we wanted to be, and we talked about the constellations and God and who God was to us and all of that, and that is a conversation that stuck with me for a really long time. That meant a lot to me. And then my other one was also from Ebert. So I have a phobia of heights, of being really high up, and I had never done the ropes course before, but I wanted to try it, and I freaked out, completely freaked out while I was up there, and everybody was talking to me and encouraging me, and I got through it, and everybody was so excited for me whenever I got down, and that the just overwhelming sense of love that I got from my youth group and the staff and everybody who was there was just really intense, and it was a really great moment.
My favorite part was always going to Sunday school and having like the snacks afterwards. I really like the snacks, and like doing youth group stuff with fellow peers. So I really like that.
Okay, my first prerequisite to this question is I'm not an adult yet. I'm not going into adulthood. I'm not old enough to be an adult. But also, the things that I've learned, I think definitely just the importance of kindness to all people and just unconditional love. And I know it sounds like cliche and everyone says it, but it's true, and I think it's something that I will always in my life value, no matter what changes, no matter who I am. Like, I will always value kindness and love towards people. And also, I think just about the word faith, I think as a kid I never really understood what it was, and then I started to kind of learn that, oh, like faith is like believing, but then I also somewhere along the way kind of learned that faith isn't exactly just believing. Like, I guess, hold on, I have to look at what I wrote down here, because it was, I guess what I was trying to say is along the lines of faith. I feel like what I've learned is, as a kid, I don't think I ever really understood what it meant, and then I kind of started to learn that, oh, it's like believing. And then somewhere along the way, I also kind of learned that it's not just like believing, because, what did I say? I said it's more about having, to me, having faith that the world can be good and that our lives are meaningful and important, and that, I guess what I was trying to say is that faith isn't just believing without seeing, because to me that's kind of like Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny. But it's more about allowing something to be meaningful without needing a why. Yeah.
I just carried with me that God is really, he forgives you if you make mistakes. I feel like that's something I've had to learn, is like I'll feel guilty if I mess up, or if I don't feel like I'm living up to his purpose. But I just feel like he knows like what you mean and what your intent is, and that you can always try again. Like, it's never too late to keep trying to fulfill his goal and his purpose.
I think something I learned about faith in God that was just so incredibly important to me was that you don't have to be 100% sure that you're being faithful all the time. Everyone questions their faith at some point, and learning that was just so important for me, because I used to really wrestle when I was much younger about, like, was I actually faithful, because I wasn't thinking about God all the time. Like, could I go to church? Like, was that okay? And like Abiding Love and the sermons with Pastor Brad, it really made me realize that, you know, I'm human, and I'm not going to be 100% thinking about God all the time, but that doesn't mean I can't not go to church.
I thought the tool of community and faith is it's a great resource to have. Just all the connections and friends you can make through faith.
There's no one way to worship your God. God is different for everybody, and there's no one set way that you have to do it. You don't have to do anything. I mean, God is a guide. He's your helping hand. He's like your father. He loves you no matter what, and you don't have to prove yourself to him. God loves you no matter who you are and no matter what you do, as long as you love him back. And I think that that's something really important that I've had to come to learn.
Okay, I think relying on the people around you to help you through tough times and through life, and showing love and compassion is a really important value that I learned.
Okay, I'm going to the University of Utah, and my major is electrical engineering for now.
I'm going to be attending Ohio State University in Ohio, and I'm going to be majoring in psychology and playing Ultimate on the Ultimate team there called Ohio Fever. So yeah.
I'm going to attend college at Trinity University in San Antonio, and I'm going to major in political science with maybe a dual major in economics.
I'm going to UT Dallas. My major is Arts, Technology, and Emerging Communications, which is basically interactive media like web design, video game design, stuff like that.
I am going to be attending Texas A&M Corpus Christi, and I was accepted into the accelerated program where I will be graduating in 4 years with my bachelor's in environmental science and my master's in coral ecology.
I am going to TCU, Texas Christian University, go Frogs, and I'm going to major in biological anthropology, so I'm really excited about that.
Okay, well, this is not necessarily given my major, but my dream job for like the past few years has kind of always been to work for National Geographic. But you know, being interviewed by National Geographic would work too. But like more realistically, I guess, along the sides of engineering, something to do with like, I want to do something that helps the environment. So maybe like working with renewable energy, or like building like sustainable homes, or just anything along that line. I'm not really sure yet, but yeah.
My dream job is to be work in the research adolescent mental health. So depression, anxiety, just the mental health of like youth, and just help like kind of develop tools and like ways to help youth like through their, you know, harder times. Just like to be in research, basically.
I think my dream job would be advising companies about where to invest and what to do in other countries. But I'm not picky. I'll take whatever.
I'd like to work at a video game design company at some point, probably doing like creature design, stuff like that. Something I find fun.
I want to work for NOAA, which is the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, and I want to live in Hawaii and study the coral reefs.
Dream job. I haven't really thought that far yet. I think a dream job would be traveling around and doing field work in different places around the world. I think that'd be really awesome.